welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Jack Daniels Coy Hill 2021 release. 71.25% ABV. Dustin, who's Coy Hill?
I have absolutely no idea, Mike. Actually, I think it's actually one of the rickhouses at Jack Daniels, but I'm not positive.
Mm-hmm.
This was a special release they did a couple years ago. This is one of the single barrels, I'm pretty sure. They then followed up with a small batch distillery only release. And this one kind of broke the whiskey world. It led to incredible rave reviews. I can't even get, I tried getting one of these. They wanted me to spend Mike $5,000 and pay 3x retail at one of my stores that only sells at retail.
71.25.
Yeah. So this rickhouse, apparently, that they're getting these out of, I guess it's maybe high up or something, and it's putting out these super, super high alcohol barrels, and, well, people are just absolutely going gaga over this.
Is that a 142 and a half?
Yeah. 140. Yeah. By the way, that means this is Hazmat. Only the second Hazmat whiskey we've ever brought to people.
Look how dark that is. That's blood red.
Yeah. So this is one of those, I am so sad I never got a chance to get a bottle. I've had this before, so anybody, I know a lot of you guys are like, man, sample review. This is something we've tried before, just, it's been more than one time tasting it, just not our bottles.
Tasting it now. Man, that is
smell any alcohol?
No, it's rich and deep.
It's just rich. It's chocolate and heavy. It's heavy cinnamon stick. Again, it's not cinnamon, it's not red hot, it's cinnamon stick.
This is Christmas cinnamon with just decadent chocolate.
Yeah, dark chocolate.
My coworker went overseas to France and Italy or someplace like that, brought back these incredible Dutch chocolates, and it was just thick and heavy. And this is how thick and heavy the chocolate note is, and this it reminds me of it.
Brown sugar.
Oh.
With
some heavy type of dessert sherry on the end of it. It almost smells like.
Well, it's that Dr. Pepper, but it's the concentrate. They've squeezed it. They didn't put any soda water in there. It's just Dr. Pepper concentrate.
Mm. Give me the chemicals that make it up.
Man, I'm sorry, people. I'm falling in love with this richness. And yet again, I'm not getting no alcohol.
Yeah, the effervescence is even light. You know what I mean? It's so approachable. It's so easy to smell this.
You ever dig into a really high proof whiskey and you start to want to sneeze and stuff because the alcohol kicks in?
It pushes your nose out of the glass. I mean,
none of that.
I mean, you can approach this like a 40% whiskey.
I mean, I am putting my nose all the way in there and I'm getting none of it.
We just had a Jack Daniels single barrel. It was nothing like this.
Yeah.
142 and a half.
Isn't that wild? I really want to get a hold of it. If anybody has a small batch one, we would love a sample of that to review as well. I know those are hard to get and all that, but I don't know how many they made or how long. So
yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward of a whiskey. I mean, it's dense. I mean, it's severely dense, but it's a Dr. Pepper sweetness.
Yeah, this is one of those I just can't wait because I've been holding on. I took a little taste out of this one just before I brought the review again. I wanted to get a nip before we came here. But I can't wait to add water to this and really play with it.
You had a nip. You had an eighth of an ounce, and you were still legally drunk.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I mentioned I didn't go to bed until late this morning. A little bit of berry notes come through as well, by the way.
Yeah, red berry maybe.
Yeah, just a hint. I mean, it's a nice little something subtle. Everything about this is just approachable, dark, rich. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Stag Junior sometimes. Not as heavy cherry. But,
yeah, a good one.
Yeah.
And a nice wisp of char. It has some of the elements, just more subdued.
Yeah, but this is, if you guys have had the Stag Junior, you haven't got the Coy Hill, because this is leaning more Stag Junior than a single barrel proof usually is even.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's its comparison. It's the closest comparison, even though it's not the same whiskey.
No, not at all. But on the nose at least. So I'm going to dive in here, Mike.
Go for it. I imagine that's going to catch fire. This is a little more 23 flavors than Jack Daniels.
Oh my God. Woo! So you don't get alcohol bite per se, but you get the drying on your tongue of the 140 where instantly you just dry out. But oh my God, the flavors. They're not just rich and concentrated, Mike. They're broad, they're wide. Oh, this is so good. I'm not even sure where to start. I mean, it's Jack Daniels. It's the 23 flavors, but it's refined. There's no like sharp oak funk. There's no biting in the wrong places. But it's hitting you with so much alcohol. It's so weird to have this refined.
Wow, what a build!
Refined whiskey.
It was so refined on the tongue, and as the experience goes, it just becomes hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
It's almost like, eating a sauce or eating, sushi or something. Like, it keeps building. But at first, it's just beautiful candy.
Yeah.
And like some beautiful candy Jack Daniels flavors. And then as it goes, the ABV just builds and builds. It becomes a smut. At the end now, this becomes almost like a burning, this rickhouse of on fire wood.
Yeah. But you know what? In there with that candy sweetness and that rickhouse fired wood.
As soon as you add something to it, I'm afraid to add water to this. I'm not even going to interrupt you.
No,
but like as soon as you hit your tongue, it goes sweet. But as soon as you added like something like your tongue or the saliva from your mouth from it, it just opened up and just caught fire. It was almost like Greek fire. It just melted everywhere.
So there's a moment between the sweet candy and that oak fire you're talking about. In the middle, there's like a mushroom sauce. It's like a sweet sauce you would put into like a steak. There's a slightly umami moment in there, and it's...
Ooh, I didn't catch that. There is a dry peanut note in this.
There is a little bit of that, and it's... Have you ever had a peanut sauce? That's kind of maybe not mushrooms, peanut sauce.
Yeah, there was some type of
There's something that you would put on like a weird, like a duck or something.
Yeah,
like,
or chicken, yeah, something like that. There was something that I had like at a Chinese restaurant around here.
Something fat that you put on a fatty meat, a super fatty kind of sauce.
Oh, these are dumplings. This is dumplings and peanut sauce.
The more I'm smelling it, actually, the more I'm getting that Chinese peanut sauce kind of note. Yeah, I've added a little bit of water now. It's...
I don't know what's in the dumplings, but
as I'm sure you guys can guess, this is our last drink of at least our review night because this is intense.
142, 142.5. Did you put water in it?
Yeah, and they brought out the sweetness. Did bring out a little bit of oak funk. I don't know if I like the funk as much. In other words, it brought that fire down. Now more oaky funkness. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. I'm losing words here, Mike. This is evaporating me. Man, I'm going to do one more drop of water, but then I might stop because I'm not sure water is helping because of just how well constructed that
This is instantly so drying. And I think that's when the umami note comes up that you were talking about. Initially it's sweet, and then it just scorched earth drying. Mm-hmm. Man, that would kill a slug or anything that needs moisture to survive. Like it's just salt and desert earth. And then I think that's when that umami note kind of comes in right at the end. Then it just goes that rolling smoke note.
There's depth of flavor here that's hard to get to because it's so concentrated and so rich. I mean, hell, when you're saying Dr. Pepper, you're literally saying it's got at least 23 flavors. I just can't tell what they are because it's all there.
There's a devil's cast, high char, high sherry note to this too.
You've brought that up a few times, but you're right. Jack does have a sweetness that does reminisce. Oh man, the fire's still coming in with water.
I would imagine.
But again, it's not off-putting. It's actually fun. I mean, it's almost like being 22, 21, or okay, let's be real, 17 again and drinking Everclear. And you're like, oh my god.
This is just like a cinnamon hurricane on the end too. You know what I mean?
It's Cat 5 too, man. Oh. It's coming in 180 mile an hour wind gusts.
This is dangerous whiskey.
And it's so easy to drink. That's the part that really makes it dangerous.
That's why it's a dangerous whiskey.
It's so dangerous. Oh man, honest to God, I hate to even say it, but this is, Mike, it's better than that the 14-year Foregate. Yes, I am taking those drops.
This is a night ender.
Which let's be honest with you, that was like adding another glass of whiskey into there. Wow.
Yeah, this has got ABV to burn, boy.
You know, if I could get a hold of cases of this, we'd have to do a little flame test. How much does it burn?
This would be a true serum. Make someone take 3 or 4 shots of this in a card game. I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Do you got any hearts over there? 6. How do you have 6? There's a card up my sleeve. Figured.
Did you used to go by a different name? Ivan.
And that is when we found out Mike used to be Michelle.
Oh, I tell you what. It was a punchy experience, Dustin.
That was a fun Halloween.
Yeah, I'm not really getting a ton of extra, with water in it. Still, hot cinnamon, same flavors. The ABV is the show here.
You get a little bit of the classic bourbon vanilla notes come out a little bit with water. They were a little subdued before. But yeah, honestly, water doesn't really... I was wondering if water was going to bring out more flavor, and it really doesn't.
It is not. It's a simple whiskey.
It's a simple but incredibly well done, incredible experience.
It's shocking how little of alcohol you get initially on the nose. It does not prepare you at all for the experience.
Can't smell it at all.
It probably does not prepare you at all for when it hits our system. But here we are. Anyway, what are your thoughts as far as a whiskey score, Dustin?
This is the hardest whiskey I think I've ever went on to try to review, Mike, because traditionally I would not put high notes on just intense, excessive alcohol as being a refined, score-wise judging system. This one does it in a way that I think it actually deserves to get some really high marks. So I'm going to give this a 90, which I think is an excessive score because it somehow found a way to make that alcohol proof a massive value add where I've never really seen it as that by itself. I've always felt to review, you proof down. But this is something unique, even from an Elijah Craig barrel proof.
I will say that this was an extremely impressive whiskey from the initial nosing because that ABV did not come off at all. And it had great flavors to it and everything else like that. Going forward on it, it felt like a very high ABV, simple product. I'm at an 87.
Wow, okay.
I really enjoy it. My enjoyment level was way higher. It's a simple whiskey.
Yeah, I got to give it points for just... I've never experienced something with this kind of intensity, and I don't know how you could do that without it just being a total disaster. And that's why I'm giving it credit.
Maybe I'm underappreciating that aspect of it because that is one of the highest ABV whiskeys I've ever had. It's got to be, if not in the top 5, the top 10 without question.
It's in the top 3 probably.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's extremely high. We had a couple of high ABV whiskeys.
We've only had one other whiskey that meets the Hazmat standard of 140 reviewed on the channel.
144, was it not?
I can't remember, but we had one other, the 14-year Four-Gate.
I think that was 144.
Else in this range.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general in my life.
Yeah. I'm giving it points for that. I think, honestly, 87, if I were not to give the points for the alcohol effect, I would go there. But I am blown away by the fact that they were able to do this. And so I'm giving that extra credit there. Maybe it's faulty and wrong. If one of the whiskey judges reviews,
right,
please give me your thoughts on how you would review something like this.
And perhaps 87 is far too low, and I am not being appreciative of what I'm experiencing right here. And I'm not saying I'm not happy with it.
Well, I actually was thinking initially.
There's a difference.
I was thinking around 87 initially myself with that exact thought in mind. Then I said, no, I can't because the wow factor here is you can't do this any other way.
Again, very hard to judge a whiskey like this. Very hard to pull off a whiskey like this at all, I would imagine.
Yeah.
The fact that it even got here.
The fact that it exists is wow.
Anyway, tell us. I mean, again, we're just two guys with opinions, but this opinion is there's a bit of a gap. So tell us who's right and who's wrong.
It's rare we come up and say, you know what? Our years of experience in whiskey is not enough to review a whiskey properly. But this is the case. I don't feel like I have enough experience.
Approaching Whiskey Review 500, and here we are still.
Thousands and thousands of whiskeys, and I'm lost on this one.
And trust me, we drink whiskey before we did whiskey reviews.
Long before.
All right, those are our thoughts on the whiskey. Hope you guys had a chance to try this one. If you have, we'd like to know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, what wish the folks?
Happy. I'm losing my thoughts. This is a lot of whiskey. Drinking.
Next time.